you're welcome back. It's still the morning drive and the segment when the say we don't enter. So I the one when it concerns newspaper reviews and of course analysis. All the many issues when they happen all over Obodo Nigeria for newspaper. Now we want to talk. So and I'm not alone. I have one gentleman don't join us for the studio and of course Rebecca today. But Twitty Ayenowo is now on the program. Twitty, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, bro. But my name in correction is not Ayenowo.
Okay.
You were too fast pronouncing my name.
Okay, Twitty Ayenowo.
Aye.
No. Okay.
So it's actually Ayenowo.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Like I can say AKPORERO and AKPOS.
Definitely.
And I didn't get it wrong.
Of course, you didn't. All right. Twitty Ayenowo.
No.
Let's go.
No. See, for as long as you want to continue to pronounce my name,
all right,
I will forever correct you.
Yes, correct. Good.
Ayenowo.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Twitty is in the house now.
Thank you.
So many issues on our newspaper headlines today. But today, make we start with Vanguard. Now, Vanguard said Biafra's sit-at-home day fails in Asaba, Owerri, Oka, but it succeeded in Onitsha, Aba, Nnewi. Now, we all know about the Biafra day that was scheduled for yesterday to mark the people that actually died in the 1967 civil war all across Igbo land. But some states actually didn't they didn't observe it, especially like when we saw in Enugu, people went about their normal business. How you react to this? Do you think it was actually constitutional for them to say, let some people sit at home and then let no activities just because they were mourning their past fallen heroes?
Two things I'll say. Number one is the fact that we live in a country that does not really understand and fully understand economy.
Okay.
We sometimes have too much holidays, close work, businesses, and all of the rest. That simply means that we do not necessarily think about making money, growing the economy, having white Irish. Okay. That is why repeatedly over time we've had holidays upon holidays. And sometimes we get tired of these holidays. Now, that is number one part of it, that upon that narrative, we now have members of IPOP who think that the best way to preach and establish their agenda is upon establishing holiday. Ignore, do not do certain thing on a particular day, which is of course not really different from what we have, which is national holiday. Don't go to work, May 29. We'll have holiday next week. Then again we'll have the June 12th. Yes. So it's all about all of this. Then we have the
there was May 27th, the May 29th, May 30th. I mean, people need to go about their business.
Yeah. So that is the first premise upon which that IPOP day is established. Now the second one, which I consider wrong, is the fact that we do not have to always think that we have to certainly in a particular way establish narrative that do not suit everyone. Which of course my position is the fact that IPOP, let's not get it wrong, is different from Masop. It's of course different from Biafra. Let's not misconstrue the OB in IPOP to be Biafra. The context is completely different. We have an individual who flee the country to only surface in a foreign land and make every other person want to think that his agenda is genuine. They can't flee. But regardless of what it stands for, he couldn't wait or stood the ground to further establish his beliefs because he did one thing in particular. He made it so clear to everyone that he has his wife and children who are British citizens.
Yes.
But he wants Nigerians who are just Nigerian citizens to die for a cause that is propagating and wanting by all means to make money off that particular cause.
Wow.
Forgetting history. So,
but the set at home was actually done because of for historical purpose, you know, because of the civil war that happened before, you know. They said they said they should sit at home just to mourn their fallen heroes, you know.
The civil war happened yesterday.
No, it happened in 1967, of course.
No, I mean yesterday.
Why did they choose yesterday to celebrate their fallen heroes?
That's actually another
because I know and I still think, if I'm not mistaken, I do know the dates, the beginning and the end of the civil war in Nigeria.
So now
it has nothing to do with May 30th.
30th. Wow. So lies with some states not actually participating and some participating. What does this show about the whole IPOP idea? Is it that some of the Igbos, they are not actually in line with this, or is it a thing of disintegration amongst them?
The thing is, the move to actually call a day whereby people won't work and stay at home, since it's not something that is not an order that was issued by the federal government, is really wrong. Because imagine in Lagos, they declare a day as a day for nobody to work because probably they want to celebrate a particular chief in Lagos State. Do you know how that is going to affect people in Lagos State? So I think that in the eastern part of Nigeria, there are some decisions that, fine, the thing is everybody is agitating to be treated equally and nobody should be treated less than they deserve and all. And that is one of the reasons why they are agitating for Biafra. They want to be independent. So this move of them calling on a particular day of work for them to sit at home without the approval of the federal government, this move is let me say, is it like it's not constitutional? Yes, and it's frugal. Like for them to just come up with that idea and just do it without the approval of the federal government.
I beg to disagree because I know that until now, May 29 happens to be the Democracy Day.
Yes.
Not just Inauguration Day. And of course, we know now that the federal government, that is talking about the executive and the legislative arm of government, has actually established that Democracy Day is going to be June 12th.
June 12th, yes.
But May 29th will remain Inauguration Day.
Yeah.
So that's, in all of this, even without that in place, state governments have the right to declare state holidays. The only arm or the only tier of government, I'm very wrong to have said arm, the only tier of government that has the right to declare a nationwide holiday is the federal government. So, in disagreement to what Rebecca said, it is not illegal for a state government or group of individuals to say we are not working today.
Okay, but it's not just in a particular state. It
I mean,
involves all the eastern states.
Across one geopolitical.
That's what I'm trying to establish here.
Yeah.
I can decide to work.
And that's actually one part of the country, if you look at it. And federal government
one part
has
of the
control.
country, we have crisis in Zamfara, we have in Borno, we have in other parts of Nigeria.
I mean, but that is crisis. These are issues of
These are
security.
personal opinions.
Yes. But I'm talking about the economical effect. I mean, these guys they just
you just mentioned economical effect.
Yeah.
That I would agree with you to say it is wrong for the sake of the national economy.
Exactly.
And
but individual economy, not everybody in a particular zone, not to talk about state, local government, or a town, that will ignore or decide not to work or make money. Because even when we have the inauguration day, some individuals were there at that venue to sell drinks. When I mean drink, I do not necessarily mean alcohol, but whatever liquid you can drink. People were there to sell food and all of the rest.
Yeah.
It was a public holiday. Public holiday means that nobody in public service should work.
Well, if we should flog this issue, we'll go on and on. Let's move now to the Nation newspaper, where talking about President Muhammadu Buhari, I beg your pardon, talking about the House of Assembly saying that Buhari should rescind on his order to stop to say those that have licensed gun should return back them back to the state, which means according to this issue, what we saw yesterday, the National Assembly, they actually came out after a motion was raised that President Muhammadu Buhari was planning, was actually implementing a law or a statement that would say everybody that has a licensed gun should return it back to the government, because according to him, because they perceived that maybe they are using those guns for crime, and other persons that doesn't have authority over those guns are using it for other issues. Now, the National Assembly, they've come out to kick against it, that Buhari should retrace his step and cancel that order. Now, coming to the way that security is now in Nigeria, the insecurity issues, the kidnapping here and there, should Nigerians be allowed to carry licensed guns?
My own opinion, the move of the government to actually give that order, I think that those bandit attacks, those people that terrorize the nation, if we are to look at it, where do they usually get their weapons from?
Yeah.
We could sense that they get their weapons from probably government officials or people that have these licensed guns. Not that the president is trying to accuse anybody, but to just have a safety net. Let everybody submit their licensed guns, and let's see if this particular attacks or this particular security problem will persist if these guns are in appropriate custody. So I think that they should, if they are trying to solve a problem, they are going to test and observe and do your appropriate thesis to know that, okay, if you do this, if there's a reduction, probably that's where the problem is coming from. So if the president actually gave this order for a period of time just to observe if the bandit attack and kidnapping and all is going to reduce, I think they should continue with that. This order should actually come into effect. But if at the end of the day, after collecting the licensed guns from these people, and at the same time the crime rate and kidnapping still persists, then probably should.
Well, this conversation is ongoing, and you can also join in, and let's hear your views and your opinions. Our lines will be displayed on the screen now, and you can call us and join in on this conversation. But before that, Twitwi, giving guns, as in the National Assembly, they've come out to say taking away guns from Nigerians, it will expose them to this bandit attack. It will expose them more to these attacks and insecurity issues. Are you in agreement with that?
One of the things we have to establish, of course, agreement with what Rebecca has said, is the fact that, number one, we have to pay attention to what the government over the years have been saying, and which, of course, is the fact that those who are killing Nigerians are foreigners.
Those who are killing Nigerians?
Yeah. It has been further established from the Ministry of Information to Culture and all of this, that those who are actually perpetrating banditry, as we have to call it, because what we have is that we have to just give different names describing different form of criminality: terrorism, banditry, cattle rustlers,
yes,
and all of that.
Even Boko Haram.
Yeah. So what we have at the moment is the government it's not actually wrong to think that we should retrieve every license gun. But then again, one would want to think that if you want to retrieve the license gun, are you saying to us that the guns within the country are the reasons we have foreigners killing and committing atrocities within the country? Because this is according to members of the government.
Yes.
From our information minister to the others. Now, one thing we just have to look at here is that if you really want to implement this, where will you start from? From the criminals? A criminal would not surrender his weapon.
Of course not.
A criminal will continue to run. A criminal do not care where the president comes from. A criminal just wants to commit crime. That is who a criminal is. So if you think that the reason a criminal is committing crime is because the criminal is being weaponized, then you have to say, not to a criminal. Let's get this straight. You do not have to say to a criminal, submit your weapon. Because a criminal will not do so. It has to be about you going forward to further establish your control and your influence over the system and governance to make sure that you do not have to say to a criminal, submit your weapon, but you arrest a criminal.
Well, like the case of militants in Niger Delta, after the dialogue, you know, some of them, they came out with their weapons. They surrendered their weapons. Okay, we've already talked. Do you think this government should also tread through that same path? Like, okay, let's have a conversation. Guys, what's the problem?
I think this is what we are getting wrong. See, no matter how people tend to praise what happened in the Niger Delta, I'm from the Niger Delta. I'm from Ondo State. And I know, of course, that surrender of what happened, what they call the
amnesty
program, yeah. So it was not invalid.
Okay.
But if we look beyond that approach, we should be able to tell ourselves, why in the first place did we have people from the Niger Delta taking up arms? Because one, it's not about asking a man to surrender his weapon. Yes, I would say here that the members of the militancy, as the federal government decided to name them at that period, and we all have to just buy along that whole militant and militant. But militancy has a different meaning from what the federal government did.
Yeah.
But one thing we cannot take away from that is that the federal government did say, surrender your weapon. But do you know, in our true sense, the federal government did buy the weapon.
Yes, yes.
And continued to pay. Because the amnesty program is about a program where you pay them repeatedly for a period of time. Yeah. You have to release some certain amount for them to release.
You will train some of them abroad. You train some of them skill acquisition.
The training and all of that, all of the whole thing about paying is not bad. It becomes questionable when you are actually asking a criminal to release his or her weapon.
But you mentioned something, that those are actually doing the killings, they are not Nigerians.
No, that was not me. That was exactly what the federal government said.
Okay, now if they are not Nigerians, how come they are entering the country? Is it that our borders are weak? Or is it that the security is not tight enough? Because I remember the both of us and other CIN crew, we traveled in January, and then we saw towards Katsina area, the security was tight. But in Zamfara, security, there was no security at all. Even the first security we saw was just road safety, who normally don't combat crime. You know, they are just there to protect you. And the next people we saw police, before we saw army. and it was really dry in terms of security along the Zamfara road. Now, does that mean that the federal government, they are not paying much attention into who comes in to the country and who goes out?
Yeah, the federal government is not paying so much attention. In the sense, not necessarily that the federal government does not want to, but it boils down to the fact that it's all about individuals not understanding what they stand for. The federal government, when we say federal government, what comes to the mind of most individuals is about the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And as we have today, President Muhammadu Buhari.
Okay.
Now, people will say Buhari is not working. Zamfara governor will come on to say, oh, it's bad. We cannot control this. But we forget that we have a commissioner of police in that state.
Mm-hmm. Yes, true.
We forget that we have a secret service force in that state, what we call the DSS or SSS. We also forget that we have military base in this region. Does the president really have to go bear weapon to make the country safe?
Well, I think all that actually has to do with the administration from the head to, of course, the bottom. From there, now let's move now to the Sun newspaper. Now, in the Sun newspaper, we heard that Sanwo-Olu visits Papa Gridlock, and he has actually assured a lasting solution. Remember, Sanwo-Olu was inaugurated on May 29 as the 15th governor of Lagos State, and so many expectations, so many anticipation as to what he will do and the things that he will not do, because they've actually he actually came out to say that in 60 days that he will make sure that Papa Gridlock is cleared. Now, 60 days Papa Gridlock in Lagos, we know how dense, we know how tight that road is. Do you think that Sanwo-Olu can achieve it, Rebecca?
I think that even before Sanwo-Olu became the governor of Lagos State, for him to have said 60 days, I think if he can actually do it, good. But at the same time, it has been a problem that's been ongoing for years, Papa Gridlock and all. And for the previous governor of Lagos State, that's Ambode,
yes,
not to have been able to solve this problem even for the past 4 years. In 60 days, for him to say he can do it in 60 days, it's fine. He said it, that he can do it. And since for him to have made that announcement, he's going to make sure that he brings that to reality. But for me, I think that 60 days might be a little bit difficult for him to achieve that, because this problem is not something that just came up a year ago. It has been something that has been ongoing for years, and even the past governor could not overcome this challenge. So 60 days might not be enough. But for him to have come up and said that, then he has a lot of plans to put that into reality. So let's just hope that he can fulfill his promise by saying in 60 days, Papa Gridlock and all.
Yes,
position.
Yes, thank you very much. We hope that he actually achieves it. Now,
yes.
We saw that Papa Gridlock recently. Muhammadu Buhari visited Lagos State, and overnight, all the trucks on that road was cleared up. Now, if they could do that in just a matter of days, what do you sense in that kind of issue? Like, do you think that the powers that be are actually working against the Lagos State government, or what is actually the issue in that Papa Gridlock? Is it that they can't clear it immediately?
Not that nothing cannot be resolved by government. Let's just at least make that clear and very known to us. There is nothing that cannot be resolved by government, because of course for there to be crisis and for there to be problem, it means that a sector of governance has failed to perform the duty. So now, talking about Apapa, it is not undoable by the governor. But you see, we've paid so much attention to what the governor said than we even attend to the federal order.
Yes, the
The
14-day
clearance.
Yeah, the 14-day clearance. Yes, yes.
Now, the governor made that statement before the order from the federal government
Yes.
came in. I beg your pardon. But one thing that is very clear is that we cannot ignore the fact that we have same political party governing Lagos and as what we have governing Nigeria as it is now. So it is expected, believing and upon knowing the old disagreement that brought about Sanwo-Olu becoming the governor of Lagos, one would want to say that Sanwo-Olu is going to at least prove a point and try to make everyone want to see that it's completely different from Ambode.
Yes, talking about Sanwo-Olu being completely different. Rebecca, you've heard Sanwo-Olu talk. You've seen him, you know, his body language and all that. Do you think Sanwo-Olu can bring something different from what Ambode, like his predecessors, guys like Ambode, Fashola, and even Jagaban himself, Tinubu? What's your general picture of the man when you see him and the way he acts?
Okay, to me, I know that Sanwo-Olu is someone that is determined, and is people that have worked together with him, because I was privileged to actually have a conversation with a woman that knows him well, and she was like, Sanwo-Olu is a man of integrity. If he says he's going to do something, he's definitely going to do it. That is one of the reasons why people voted for him in the first place.
Being outside government and being in government is two different things.
Yes, of course. And except it changes, but looking at his past history and what he has done in the past, he's actually a man of integrity and is determined. Whatever he set his mind on, even during the campaign and everything, you could see that he's a very strategic man. If he wants to achieve something, he knows the right angle to target in doing that. So I believe that he's going to do better. And fine, some people some people may not be happy with Ambode with some of the things he did, but at the same time, Ambode actually worked at when he was the governor of Lagos State in terms of building bridges and other things So I think that Sanwo-Olu will do better, because people that actually sing the praises of Ambode are much. So he will definitely want to make sure that people that will sing his praises, even when he is done with his first term as the governor, will be much also. So I think he's going to do better.
All right, now over to you now. To Rebecca thinks Sanwo-Olu will do better. I believe you've seen you saw Ambode, you saw Fashola, you saw Tinubu. Now, seeing Sanwo-Olu with what he has, his manifesto and all his plans for Lagos, are you actually anticipating a good governance in the next 4 years?
Well, I think that is what every one of us should really anticipate, because we cannot just think, we cannot think otherwise, because if the government is bad, it means it's bad.
Yes.
It's not about what you get into your pocket or your personal purse. So, as much as we speak of that, understanding that a good government is a good government, a bad government is bad government, we cannot ignore the fact that we also have the issue and the challenges of wanting to impress.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what led to Ambode being the governor. It was a man playing a card. Same thing played out to Sanwo-Olu becoming the governor. The said man played a card. Regardless of what the man did, regardless of how people want to interpret it, it remains the fact that there are people who think that Ambode has not done well in terms of governance in Lagos. And they've further proven this by ensuring that projects remain abandoned and all of the rest. And what I'm trying to say here is the fact that we have people, individuals who would like, it's not going to work, this must not work, and it hasn't worked. So Sanwo-Olu, from even his speech,
Yes.
his inaugural speech, has to do with about he wants to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it tells so much how much he recognized and respected Tinubu, and then he moved on to recognize and give all due respect to Fashola.
Wow.
But
Yes.
he did it for Ambode, and it took him time to at least, when he finally wanted to say he wanted to bid farewell and end the speech, that was when he even recognized that he was the same man that handed over to him. So I expect Sanwo-Olu to do well. And I think that is what every Lagosian, because if he does well, he favors me.
Exactly.
But one thing is this, favoring, as I've said, so people do not misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not talking about giving me money, buying me vehicles, or doing my road, or whatever it is. I'm talking about spending the money of Lagos appropriately. Make it known to the people of Lagos. Because since 1999, one thing we cannot ignore in Lagos is the fact that Lagos state governments have been and have been operating in secrecy.
Wow.
There's no transparency in Lagos state governance. We know if you talk about the government budgeting of Nigeria, the Federal Republic, you have it. You can get to see, say, oh, they are building Niger Bridge, this is the amount budgeted for Niger Bridge in 2019, this is the amount, and all of that. Then you can tell if Niger Bridge will be completed or not. You can listen to this. Except one person come in to ignore that project. But do you know what we have in Lagos?
No.
We don't even know how the money in Lagos will be spent. Lagos has been operating in secrecy. And I, as an individual, am expecting and hoping that Sanwo-Olu would relieve and live beyond all of that to prove to Lagosians that he is transparent.
Yes.
I do not respect really that much because, of course, he was peddled by the same individuals in his political party who thinks that Ambode was not a good party.
Well, so much on the morning drive this morning. We actually expect differently from Sanwo-Olu, and of course, positively. That is actually the prayer of every well-meaning Nigerian, and in particular, every Lagosian. The morning drive still continues, and the next segment we will enter now is a segment that has to do with entertainment, as Bobrisky and of course Naira Marley, they are on the news, and we will talk more about that one after the short break. Not going nowhere, we will come back.